Hey guys, Jacob with Falkor Defense here, and today we're going to talk about the LW7 Action. What is the LW7 Action? Well, the LW7 Action is actually a descendant of our 7 Action. So if you've been following us for any time now, you know that the 7 Action was our first action that we put into production for the Remington 700 clones. The 7 Action, the difference between this and the LW, there's some slight differences. We'll do a whole separate video on an overview of the 7, but the main differences is the weight and the integrated rail. So the LW7 Action does not have integrated Picatinny rails. It actually has a round top, and it's compatible with direct mount rings from places like Hawkins Precision or Tally Precision. And the lightweight Action came into play actually after another model called the MT7. The MT7 Action, very similar to this model, but it was about 5 ounces heavier. The internals were the same, a similar design as far as, rounded top, compatible with direct mount rings. It was also designed for the hunter to shave weight, but as you guys know, when you're shaving weight, enough is never enough. So the 5 ounces difference puts this LW7 Action just under 20 ounces. So about 19.6 ounces is going to be the weight on this in a short action. So you might be asking yourself, well, what uses would this action be good for? LW7 Action over a 7 or a different model or something like that. The best use for this, obviously, it was designed for hunting. So if you're building a lightweight hunting rifle, mountain rifle, that's what the features incorporated in this action were designed for, and that was the thought process behind it. However, we have guys that buy these and they'll shoot NRL hunting matches with them. They'll shoot competition. We have had a lot of guys recently that are shooting Predator rigs built off these LW7s. So most of the time they're shooting off tripods, they're shooting at night. Weight isn't as big of a deal for Predator hunting. They'll run a full rail on it because we have different Picatinny rail options for these actions. So overall it was designed for hunting, but it's a Remington 700 clone, and so you can really use it for any sort of build that you would like. So we get asked a lot, what's the difference between our action and some of the other action manufacturers that are out there? The big difference is the way that it's made and the tolerances that we use, the coatings that we've chosen for our combination. When we first started developing our action, it took us about 2 years for the first model, which would be the 7. And the way that we developed that is we started with the Remington 700 platform, and then we ironed out the tolerancing and we closed up tolerances, tightened tolerances to make it function better. Another thing that we did is we reached out to a lot of people, professionals in the firearms industry, both shooting, competition shooting, hunting, gunsmiths, and we were like, hey, here is the deal. We're building an action and we're kind of looking for some feedback. What are things you love about current actions on the market? What are things that you'd like to see that changed? And so we took all of that feedback and we tried to incorporate all of those features into an action that people were gonna say, hey, like this had some forethought through it. It's not just a Remington 700 action. They took some time and developed processes to make this the best product that they could. And so with that, we're gonna run through some of the features and talk about some of the differences and some of the added value items that you're gonna have. So first off, this action is extremely light. Like I said earlier, in a short action configuration, you're looking at under 20 ounces. And for guys that are in the backcountry, that are there for weeks at a time, ounces are pounds, and pound is pain, and pain is just weakness leaving the body, right? So 19.5 ounces, one of the lightest, probably the lightest steel action on the market. And we're not using titanium. It's a whole nother video as to why. But we have the integrated recoil lug here, and that's really important to us to give structural integrity to the action. A lot of companies out there will do a pinned recoil lug, and we didn't feel that that was going to be strong enough for our application. You have the adjustability to choose which Picatinny rails you want. Like I said, you can do direct mount rings, so then you're shaving the weight of having pick rails on there at all. You can do a split Picatinny rail, you can do a full rail if you want to do mount thermals on here or something like that. We have an elongated ejection port, and the reason for that is to accommodate for some of the longer rounds, 6.5 PRC in the short action, 300 PRC in the long action. We have a heavily fluted bolt to remove debris and dirt that might get stuck in the action while you're out in the woods running it. We have an anti-bind rail inside the Action that helps the bolt run super smooth, as well as the debris being removed from here. We have an M16 style extractor, so it's going to be a really positive extraction every time. It's a push ejector, so really like proven methods. One thing that we did a little differently on this Action than some manufacturers is we did a vertical bolt stop. And this vertical bolt stop is going to be way stronger than the horizontal stop. On the horizontal stop, the only thing that's holding that bolt stop into the Action is the pin. On this style, you actually have material from the bolt stop mated up against the receiver body itself, and it's going to make for a much stronger part. These Actions are also cut to accept a Wyatt internal box mag, so if you're running an extended box mag from Wyatt and you want to seat those bullets out further, this Action is going to be able to accept those. So we also offer multiple bolt faces for these Actions. We offer right-handed and left-handed configuration. In the short Action, we're offering the standard offerings, the 308 bolt face, Magnum bolt face. We also offer the PPC and ARC bolt face and the 223 bolt face. In the long Actions, we're offering Magnum, and we're also offering 308, and we are developing a 338 bolt that we'll be releasing as well for these, so you guys can look forward to that. As I said earlier, this is a Remington 700 clone, and you might wonder, what is that? Remington 700 is the pattern that the Action is based off of. Think about it as the Chevy 350 of Actions. It's readily available, easy to get your hands on. It was used for years and years, lots of aftermarket parts. So that's what started this. There's a few different types of Actions. A couple of the big ones are the Remington style and the Mauser style. The Remington style was easier to adapt for what we were looking to provide to the market. The great thing about this being a Remington 700 clone is going to be the compatibility with aftermarket parts. So because the Remington 700 is so widely used, that specific pattern, there's going to be a lot of stock offerings for stock manufacturers and chassis manufacturers that you're going to be able to choose for LW7 or 7 or MT7 for that matter, Falkor Action. So if you like a specific chassis manufacturer or a specific stock manufacturer, you're going to be able to go and buy that stock cut specifically for Remington 700 Action, and it will accommodate the Falkor. So also with the Remington 700 pattern, you are going to have a lot of different trigger options. So there's a lot of different trigger companies that you're going to be able to use that are going to be compatible with this Falkor Action. So you're going to have a lot of availability on your custom rifle build. Another great thing about these Actions is the tolerances that we're holding are very tight. And what that means is repeatability. So our Actions have a very tight head spacing tolerance. And what that means is that you can buy pre-fit barrels for our Actions. So with the pre-fit barrels, what that means is pre-fit or pre-chambered barrel from a barrel manufacturer like Proof Research, Organ Mountain Rifles, Carbon 6, Helix 6, Patriot Valley Arms. There's a lot of gunsmiths out there that are cut and chambering barrels specifically for Falkor Actions. Straight Jacket Armory is a big one. DMR Rifles is another one. So there's a lot of options for barrels for these, which never used to be the case. It used to be if you had a Remington 700 Action, the barrel that was chambered for your Action was specific to this Action. And they weren't holding tight enough tolerances for a guy to cut barrels for 4 or 5 different Actions and be able to interchange them. Well, we're holding tight enough tolerances on our Actions, and the barrel manufacturers are holding tight enough tolerances on their barrel chamberings that you are able to do that. You can buy a 6.5 Creedmoor barrel for a Falkor Action, and you can interchange it on 500 of these LW7s, and the head spacing is always going to be proper. There's the availability of aftermarket parts, from pre-fit barrels to the Remington 700 footprint stocks, whatever trigger you want. The last thing I want to talk about is the coating combination. So we use a DLC coating on our bolts, and we use a nitride coating on our Action body. And the reason for that is because we wanted this to be the smoothest product possible. And these Actions are literally like butter. I wish that you could feel them to understand, because I can tell you as much as I want on a video about how smooth they are and how great they are, but until you actually put your hands on one and run it, that's when you're going to realize that, like, hey, this is like literally one of the smoothest Actions I've ever ran. So all that to say, with the availability of aftermarket parts and the compatibility with the Falkor Action, there's no reason why you shouldn't give one of these Falkor Actions a try on your next rifle build. So I just want to thank you guys for taking time to tune in and to watch this video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below and we'll try to get them answered. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and to click the notifications button so that you guys are notified